Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who kept us going for 311 episodes.
311 episodes. Due to the week is NNXF.
Thank you. NNXS. Oh, I'll never get it.
I know. We've said it like 100 times. Dude, you got to correct us. What are we saying wrong here? Is it just a tongue twister? It's just NNXF.
NNXF. Thank you. Either way.
Yeah, thank you. But if you're interested in becoming a dude at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogamespodcast. And as always lately now, we have a sponsor. And that sponsor's Manscaped, which means you know two things about us. One, we're loud. Two, we've got fresh-ass balls.
Yeah, fresh-ass balls. And a little special for this week, because the episode's coming out right before Black Friday.
So you don't even need our code. Yeah, you get 25% off.
If you go to manscaped.com, you get 25% off anything. I think still free shipping worldwide. So you can have the holliest, jolliest, balliest of holidays, as your pine tree smells immaculate, and is freshly trimmed and not going to burn any houses down or cause any, gender reveal parties. Fire parties, I should say.
Because nobody wants their stocking stuffed with nasty balls.
Exactly. Don't let your Christmas presents be a lump of coal for someone. Have them be sweet, juicy, delicious oranges, which actually used to be a Christmas gift for many American boys and girls during the pioneer days. Thank you, Mom, for that.
I like how you did that with your eyes closed, like you were like in therapy.
But
That's
anyways,
what this is now.
Give the gift of giving someone a beautiful white Christmas without all the hair. Go to manscaped.com and get 25% off on Black Friday this year and the year of our Lord 2021.
Nice. Yeah, and obviously that goes through all the way through Cyber Monday. Have good times. If anybody touches your balls because they smell nice, tweet me, I guess.
Tweet me.
Hey, actually, thanks for the recommendation. My balls were touched.
To me, that would be vindication, because we've been promoting the Crop Reviver and Crop Preserver, which is the spray-on and lotion versions of ball deodorant. We've been preaching, the gospel of those, for a couple of weeks now. So if anyone actually did tweet in and say, like, hey, I got complimented on my balls, thanks for recommending the deodorant, I would feel personally vindicated.
I mean, I'm a genuine fan of it. The other day, I was actually talking about like the sponsorship, and someone was like, "They're not paying you enough because you're really trying to sell this thing hard." And I was like, "No, what I'm saying is like, it's good stuff. Like
it's working.
Yeah,
it's working.
It's good." But yeah, okay. So normally we've been doing a month of Thanksgiving, and normally right before Thanksgiving we do a Thanksgiving specific episode. But sort of just like the perfect Thanksgiving episode topic dropped in our laps.
Yeah, last week was kind of surprised because we got like two things kind of like just
two announcements that are just
and it wasn't at the game advertisements, which is coming soon, but like just on their own. Just
do you think that was a cost thing, or they just like they knew it was going to be a dead time and they were like, this is the time to shine?
It's interesting you say that, because I've actually been putting some thought into that. Especially with Multiversus, because we're talking about Multiversus and Project L.
Yeah.
Project L to me was like, well, we've been dark. It was like a Bayonetta 3 situation where like they had announced it went dark for a long, long time. They said it was going to go dark. And then they were kind of like, man, we're getting to the end of the year and we haven't said anything about this project. For them, I think it was more just like, get this out before people start thinking we canceled it or whatever.
Well, both have to have money behind it. I mean, they're two
they both do,
huge
absolutely.
companies.
Multiversus is interesting to me because that is something I would think would be announced at the game advertisements. So that actually doesn't answer any more questions. It actually puzzles. Some people are like, well, of course, because they're saving NetherRealm's game for the game advertisements. Max and Kenny are convinced that NetherRealm's next game is going to be at the game advertisements on December 9th. And with Multiversus, I think it actually just makes it even more confusing because on the one hand, yes, they announced it now so that they will have NetherRealm's Game of the Game advertised. Gets it out of the way. Perfect, right? Makes total sense. But then there's the marketing side of me that also sits there and goes, WB Games might be holding off even longer on NetherRealm's things because it's still very close to, that award show. And why would they announce two products that are in sort of similar genre? They're both fighting games. Like one's a platform fighter, one's a Smash clone, and one's going to be, a NetherRealm fighter. So they're very different in that sense, but they are still fighting games. And it could happen.
And do you think they compete, though? Do you think they actually compete with each other?
No, but
yeah.
But the way executives think, the way marketing people think, the way people who work in video games but don't play video games and don't know anything about video games but somehow have control over like announcements and money, they might sit there and think, we're cannibalizing our announcements here. As stupid as it would be. Now, I think the only thing that sort of leans into the favor of, they'll still announce another game is the fact that they had their DC fandom event. They've had it going for a couple of years now. And at one of them, they announced not one, but two fucking Batman Arkham universe-ish games. They announced the Suicide Squad by Rocksteady and then Arkham Knights by WB Montreal, which are both kind of like which are both multiplayer focused, sort of spiritual follow-ups to the Arkham series. And they're like announced on like the same day. It's the same event. So yeah, maybe they will. I personally am like, there's no problem here. Like NetherRealms, whatever they're working on is going to be probably nothing like Multiversus at all. Multiversus will definitely be its own thing, and they don't have to compete in the same space whatsoever.
I heard NetherRealms is just not even going to do a fighting game. They're actually just going to do like an open world, outworld GTA clone. So,
Jesus Christ, could you imagine?
Honestly, at this point, it couldn't be worse than the definitive edition that just came out. So
for Grand Theft Auto, yeah. Oh my God,
it's the perfect opportunity to knock them off their throne, I guess.
So yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know, but I lean towards like I still think there's like an 80 for me personally. It's 80% chance NetherRealm's game shows up at the game advertisements in a couple weeks. Max and Kenny are on 99.9%. So
I'm getting the feeling that you don't think that's true.
Like I said, I'm like 80%. I think there's like a 20% chance it may not show up. They may wait till like January, February, March.
I had an interesting thought about the idea of like executives that don't play any games being in charge of these decisions. Aren't we getting to the point now where like there's enough millennials in their 40s that would be old enough to be in these executive positions that should have played games? And like Gen X, I mean, Phil Spencer, pretty fucking Gen X-y as hell, and he's been on the right side of everything lately. Yeah, like he said all the right things lately. So,
I think, and here's the funny thing is like Reggie is, he's self-adamant about like he had, small game knowledge when he went into Nintendo. He was a marketing guy. He came in there to fix their image because they had a huge brand image problem when he got hired in. And he knew about video games and he had played some video games, but he was not, I don't think, even he probably wouldn't say like before he worked for Nintendo, I wouldn't think he would sit there and say he was an avid video gamer. But what Reggie did do and what Reggie talked about a lot,
start playing them.
Is playing them and talking about how like he would, anytime he had to do a business meeting or fly somewhere, he would at the airport or on the plane, he would be playing games on the DS or 3DS. I'm gonna have to ask you to pause recording for a second.
Okay.
I'll just
rolling.
So yeah, like he would, not only would it be the portable games, but like he would talk about playing console games at the time as well, like a lot of Wii stuff and whatever. He even recently, this week, I think, tweeted about how like he still felt like Twilight Princess was his favorite game on the Wii or his favorite Zelda game, like a personal favorite Zelda game of his. So,
based is what you're saying, is he never really.
Yeah. Well, the thing was like
He
had
lied a lot, though.
Sure, absolutely. He
Like
did, and then
he said
and
some
and
bullshit.
I would definitely not take at face value anything that he would say, like, because he would always say at the time, like, this is the best Zelda game. This is the best Zelda game. Like, he would say all the time, like, this is my new favorite Zelda game. This is the best Zelda game since Link to the Past. He would always say shit like that. Maybe he might be honest about Twilight Princess now because he's no longer works for Nintendo, and the game is really like kind of like old at this point, and he doesn't have anything to say. So him saying like, "Yeah, this is my favorite Zelda was Twilight Princess." Okay, maybe that's true now, but he also was aware of like what people were saying. Like he wasn't blind to the fact of what was going on. Not only was he sort of like their American president, basically their American PR guy, but like he was getting familiar with the product. He did get familiar with the product, but yeah, with Phil, you kind of get the idea that like it's more than just
I mean,
okay, he knows about video games or he knows what he's talking about, but it's like
he played Halo in his dorm room for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And he has also been high at some of those presentations.
Almost definitely. But I think too, him saying stuff about like preserving stuff through emulation is like, yeah, that's a good thing. And he doesn't really need to say that. That's not really anything that like benefits Microsoft. He was, it's not even. Well, of course, the Xbox is super backwards compatible, but I'm like, he's flat out came out and said we should be using emulation and we should be preserving, our games as much as possible. So,
I think it's part of that, though, that people aren't realizing how safe it is to say that is any of the games that have existed on Xbox, really, especially now that Game Pass is kind of the direction that they're trying to go, will exist forever. You're not like any of the games that he's talking about emulating are games that they can't do much else with anyway, other than make them from the ground up again.
Yeah. So
he's not talking about taking money off the table for anybody, really.
Yeah. But you're right though. It helps. It helps in a sense when you have people who know what they're talking about. Like it really, it helps that like Iwata came from a game development background.
Yeah.
I think that
definitely. Yeah.
I think that was super beneficial for Nintendo and its employees. And you can kind of feel
it made life better for the developer, probably.
Yeah, I feel like you can feel it when your studio head or your project head or whoever, like however far up the chain you want to go, like if they're not involved or familiar or even really care, if their interest is purely financial, business related, and they have no knowledge or interest in said product you're making otherwise, I feel like you can kind of tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think in any job, when the guy that's above you has never done the job that he's managing,
mm-hmm.
He or she is managing, you can always tell when they don't know. You get a lot of like, what's your thoughts on it? And then they just repeat what you said back to you.
Yeah, well, before we get too far off that, though, I think we should really just talk about Multiversus in general.
And about how it looks like a Fortnite Smash.
Well, yeah, I mean, it actually
orgy.
It definitely looks better than, and then the obvious comparison is Nick All-Star Brawl, because it's another, here's a big major media company, they did a thing, and now here's another major media company, they're doing their thing.
But one definitely has more presence and money in video games, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
because like Viacom has, Viacom has no game developer stakes. Like they don't own anyone in game. Like they don't have Paramount Games, right? Warner Brothers does. Warner Brothers has WB Games. Although, I mean, you could argue that like who owns what now is really kind of like crazy, hard to follow with Warner Brothers. But point is that there is a WB Games, and they are in the game making space. So them going after this is not too surprising. But it does seem like with Nick All-Star Brawl, it was kind of like, here's a pittance of money, to throw something together, and the developer did. I think they did their best, it was a Slap City. I think they did a fine job, but you could tell it was written all over the game that they had no money.
Yeah.
or Multiversus looks like it has maybe not all the money in the world, but it has money. It has definitely has money behind it. Some people were saying like, oh, they were reacting to the Nick game had no voices, and this game they're very proud of the voices. And I'm like, no, that's just marketing capitalizing on something that came up a couple months ago. Like when they started Multiverse, which probably started a couple years ago, they planned voices ahead, like from the beginning. So this Multiverse is not something that was developed in a week. It was something that has been planned for probably a year or two.
Yeah, how early in the development of a game does voice acting happen? I figured probably
right
pretty
at the
late.
beginning.
Really?
Well, no, right at the beginning, because they have to decide whether or not they're going to pay for it. Because if you say like, what's the budget of the game? It's this, and you sit there and say, what's it going to cost? We have to.
Okay, yeah.
We have to budget out. It's going to take this many people, this X. They budget out the time, money, and hours for the development side, and then it's like, okay, and then what about?
But when does the actual like voice acting and recording and that process happen? Is what I mean.
That's
pretty late in the game, doesn't it? Because they have a bunch of assets finished usually.
It depends on the kind of game it is. For this game, they could record the voices pretty much any fucking time they want. So who knows?
Well, yeah, I guess that's fair.
Because you could see even from the clips in it, like they don't move their mouths, so they'll have like these zoomed in shots of like Finn and Jake, and they're not even moving their mouth at all, but their voice clips are coming out. So it's like the voices could have been put in at literally any time any moment in time.
So maybe maybe people are right. Like they saw the reaction to the Nick game not having any voices, are like, oh fuck, put some voices.
Well, considering that there's a lot of like voice actor veterans in here, I'm like, okay, they knew this was happening. They probably recorded their voices like probably 8 months ago or something, I would imagine. Yeah, I'm going to guess that. And then when they saw the announcement and sort of the release of Nick, and everyone was just kind of complaining about that, they're like, this is great because now we can advertise this. This is now like a stinging bullet point, where before it was just kind of like, well, yeah, we'll have voices in it, we'll budget it for that. But now it's like, oh, now like people are really upset about this one thing for a direct competitor. Boom, to put that in the trailer, highlight that. So it was kind of like, I think it's more just sort of like a opportunity or unforeseen fortune.
Sort of lost as to why Viacom wouldn't have voices. Like, what's the fucking point?
I mean, speaking to some ex Viacom people, it's just like they will do anything. If they can do something for as cheap as humanly possible, they will.
Fair. Yeah, you know what? I don't even know why I asked. Yeah, that's fair.
With Multiversus, they're kind of playing a bit more of a long game, because this game is the Nick game is it was like a $40. I think it was $40 video game at release. This is a free to play game.
And that's why it looks like a free to play game.
So they're going a little big brain on it, where they're going to charge for the characters and the updates and the costumes. And that's actually kind of the interesting thing that I actually do like about Multiversus is the fact that there are really wild variation costumes on the characters. Like there were some that are like, whoa, you got like a lot of like crazy different variations for like Shaggy of all people and stuff. And they have like a Bruce Lee looking version of him, and all this other stuff.
Is Shaggy ever butt naked?
There is the Bruce Lee one where he doesn't have a shirt on, but he has pants.
No. God damn it. Shaggy's got to be butt naked.
Why would he be that? What would that be referencing, Andrew?
The song by Shaggy. How dare you?
I think we're getting our fucking memories of Scooby-Doo mixed up here a little bit. Jeez.
I realize you're talking about Scooby-Doo, Shaggy. I'm talking about the artist, the musical genius, Shaggy.
Okay, why would that be in the game? Then again, why would Ultra Instinct Shaggy be a thing in the game? But it is.
Should be. No, that does. As soon as you said free to play, I was like, the art style makes a lot of sense, because every free to play game is in that fucking art style.
A little bit. Most of them came out pretty well, actually. Harley's probably the most, I don't want to say off key, but most different looking from her source material, I feel. Like Shaggy looks like Shaggy. Bugs is based off of a currently running version of the show called Wabbit. I think it got renamed recently, but like
Harley
it's like
looks like the Harley in the new HBO Max show, I thought.
Kind of. Well, the interesting is you can like I think it's on their website. You can see like the different costumes because they have like one that's kind of like based on the show. They have one that's based on the classic design. They have one that's kind of based on the first Suicide Squad movie. And it's like, okay, I actually dig the fact that they're taking the time to make really different costumes, not just color variations, but like different costumes.
Well,
For
yeah,
these
they're going to cost
characters.
$10 each. So
That is the real question is like what is the cost of them? But it is nice that to know that this game, unlike Nick, which was kind of like you're going to get this tiny budget and you're only going to be you have to spread that as much as you can. So they didn't really have any ability to like have costume variations
do
in
you
Nick
think they're
All-Star.
hoping that this is going to fill the niche of Smash?
Well, that is a good question that a lot of people are asking. I'm like, hey, is this
It's not
like
going to
Smash
replace
is dead?
Smash.
So let's no. And honestly, like I think the fact that Multiversus is not going to be on Switch is kind of like the most bizarre thing of everything to me.
They didn't want to pay Nintendo.
I think well, here's my gut theory is that the focus of the game is on the co-op. Like they want it to be a 2v2 game. Like there is single player, of course, but like as they're
Okay.
highlighting in the trailer, they really are emphasizing 2v2. Like you'll have moves that are co-op based moves where a character does a move that the teammate can take advantage of and the other team can't.
Cool.
And I think that combined with the fact that they want to have like a really robust rollback net code for the game. I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe just either the Switch can't handle it or like it would take too many resources away from development to make sure this runs properly on the Switch and runs online properly with 4 different connections on the Switch. So I'm kind of blaming just Nintendo's crap net service for it.
Which is fair.
So I think maybe that is. I think I still think it's a huge mistake to not go where there's 25 million fucking Smash Brothers owners.
Yeah, and where like your art style and I don't know, and also the Switch is marketed towards co-op and multiplayer and
absolutely
shit like that. So I do think it's a mistake, but it's an understandable mistake if that makes sense. Like I get
it
where
might not
they're
even
thinking
it may not even be. I mean, it might be a thing where like Nintendo's going to announce it themselves, like at a Nintendo Direct, where they'll reveal a brand new character. Where they'll be like, I'm not saying Nintendo's going to publish it, but I can imagine being like, here's a brand new like they'll tie a brand new character announcement
to the Switch.
To the Switch version. Maybe they're even maybe there's a Switch exclusive character. There probably wouldn't be, but like say there's a new character reveal and they do it at a Nintendo Direct. By the way, this is coming to the Nintendo Switch, and this is a brand new character coming to all versions of the game. Blah blah blah. So, part of me thinks that like maybe that's just the game plan right now, or maybe Switch is staggered. Maybe they're just like we'll get it out on these, and then we'll like devote a little more time to like making sure we can get it up and running on the Switch. Maybe,
or they were banking on a Switch Pro.
Exactly. So yeah, part of me wonders if maybe it's a staggered release, and they're holding it back. But like, it's still to me, it's still very weird because even Nick showed up on the Switch because there's too many Smash players on the Switch.
Well, yeah, you said 25 million. I can't think of another single game that has that kind of a player base that is as loyal as Smash. I mean, they're not all Melee players, obviously, but like when we make jokes about Smash being dead, like Melee's still fucking going.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Like Smash isn't going anywhere. It's not like people are going to suddenly stop playing it tomorrow.
Yeah, and on the same day, Nintendo announced an official online or official tournament for Smash Brothers Ultimate and Melee. Like they announced a partnership with some esports.
Yeah, so they're still supporting it in a way.
Yeah, they're still supporting, and they announced it the same day as Multiversus. So, all that being said, super confusing. Maybe there's hardware reasons, maybe there's timing reasons, maybe whatever. How do you feel though about the starting roster? Because they've shown 13 characters, and Gandalf was leaked ahead of time.
Yeah,
surprised he wasn't in there, but like yes, Gandalf's in the game.
I'm sort of shocked about Gandalf being in the game because I don't understand how WB has Does
They have
WB have?
they have film rights specifically to the Peter Jackson films, so
So,
it's
yeah.
it's
So
super
okay,
odd.
New Line Cinema made the movies, right?
Yeah,
How did WB get the film rights? They bought New Line Cinema. Is New Line Cinema fucking gone? Did I
I mean
miss that?
WB's owned New Line Cinema for a long
For a
time.
long time? Yeah, for a long
Yeah.
time. Interesting. Um, I'm sort of. I wasn't expecting Game of Thrones characters, but I guess that makes sense. Arya Stark being in there.
I feel like that's unfortunate more than anything because it's like everyone hated that last season, and everyone has moved the fuck on from that show.
Nah, there's still people that really love like Arya Stark, and there's
Are
still
there?
yeah, there's still
Are
people
there
that
really?
yeah, there's some people fucking unfortunately named after these characters. So
I knew about that, but that happened before the finale.
yeah, I know, and some of them are fucking going to be 10 years old. This is a bummer.
Ugh.
Target market. I'm
So
named Arya. I'm the Khaleesi.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't see the full roster. I saw that there's like Wonder Woman and Batman and
it's like Wonder
Harley.
Woman, Batman, Superman, Harley Quinn, Finn and Jake, Steven Universe.
How are you gonna fucking balance Superman in a fighting game?
I don't know. It was just what they did in Injustice. He's not obviously not Superman. Shaggy's the only one from Scooby Doo. No other characters.
Does he
Tom
call
and
him an
Jerry.
assist with Scooby?
It did not look like it, which makes me think Scooby's going to show up as a playable somewhere, sometime down the road.
Kind of fucked up if you're beating up Scooby.
Yeah, it's true. But that's the joy of these games, right? You know, you got
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry's kind of funny.
Yeah. But anyway, there's like this green reindeer thing. I have no idea what the fuck it's from.
Green reindeer. What did I miss that?
Super lost on what it is. It's in the roster. I don't know what the hell it is. But here's the thing that I said about it, and I'm like, I get why they're doing it for the opening roster. That the first 13 and 14 with Gandalf. Like
rain dog. What the fuck is a rain dog?
I have no idea. So I get what they're doing with these ultra popular characters, right? These are Omega level popular. Like,
yeah,
people, you could walk down the street on like a Jimmy Kimmel, like, skit, and people will know who Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny, Batman, and all that shit is, right? But I really want deep cuts. That's what's going to get me more interested in Multiversus is the deep cuts from the Warner Brothers catalog. And and when we talk in their catalog, we're talking their animation, we're talking their HBO series stuff, we're talking movies.
You want the Animaniacs,
DC.
is what you're saying. You want like Animaniac deep cut characters.
I don't want. Well, yeah, I do. I think Animaniacs are kind of a foregone conclusion. I think they're going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Animaniac. They're going to be in there too, the Animaniacs themselves. But I'm saying like deep cut characters from the Animaniacs.
Yeah, well, I want Buster and Babs, for sure. And I'm like, I don't know who else I want. I kind of want, who did I say? I wanted Batman Beyond, like Terry McGinnis.
Gotta have Elmer. Gotta have Yosemite Sam. Both
one of the two.
Both just gonna be dumb fun. They're gonna be the Fox characters.
Yosemite Sam is oh my god.
I would love that shit.
Yeah, those would be fun. Terry McGinnis. I was saying like, the character Ashi from Samurai Jack season 5, just because it'll make everyone upset and it'll amuse me greatly.
Rooster Cogburn. What's it? Or is it
Rooster Cogburn from True Grit?
No. What's the rooster that's based on him? The rooster that's based on
Chicken Boo.
No, there's
talking about Animaniacs.
No. There's a rooster character in Warner Brothers.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Is it Foghorn Leghorn?
Yeah, are you talking about the guy now? Boy, I said, boy,
Yeah. He's
quit gapping your gum so much, your tongue's gonna get sunburned.
Yeah, for some reason I thought he was supposed to be based on John Wayne, isn't he?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, but I would love that guy. It's fucking
that guy who I called Rooster Cogburn.
Yeah, Rooster Cogburn. Yeah, I fucked that up. Oh, they have like some sort of game. Huh. Oh, it's an ornament.
Someone said they wanted Freakazoid to show up. I'm like, good call.
Definitely. Oh, hell yeah. Call. Freakazoid would be great.
Freakazoid would be great.
Foghorn Leghorn. I called him Rooster Cock. He's gonna throw like his reins in his teeth and shoot twin guns.
Yeah, he shoots twin guns. That's a more somebody Sam thing.
Fucking A.
Fill your guns, you son of a bitch.
Am I getting old? I'm getting old.
Yeah, that was a good deep cut. Someone said SWAT Cats because they're Hanna-Barbera, which WB owns.
Oh, SWAT Cats.
SWAT Cats is a good call.
God.
That's the kind of deep cut I'm talking about. Like, I want to see, T-Bone and Razor from SWAT Cats. I'm like, yeah, that's a good call.
They can do Captain Falcon's moveset. Just rip that right out.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. They fly in and jump out of the. Oh, actually, they could do Fox's.
They could do Fox
entrance.
They could be like Wolf and Fox or something.
Yeah. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really fun, deep cut.
Obviously, I want Velma in this because Velma fucks. I don't know how she'd fight, but I don't care.
Andrew just wants Velma to just be bent over, looking for clues with her ass up in the air.
Maybe. Trying to think. Oh,
because you've got all of Hanna-Barbera, and you've got all of classic Warner Brothers animations, all of the Spielberg era Renaissance. You could do stupid shit like Osmosis Jones if you wanted.
I mean, I'm kind of down with that. Kind of down with Osmosis Jones. Who doesn't like Osmosis Jones?
I'm kind of surprised they haven't thrown a Matrix character in there since they are bringing Matrix back. So maybe it's going to happen. Like Neo, Trinity, or Morpheus is going to show up. I actually, Smith would be pretty fun too.
Oh, dude, you weren't kidding about this voice acting. They got actual.
Yeah. They got John DiMaggio, Kevin Conroy,
Tara Strong, Maisie Williams.
Yeah. They went out and got the voices for their shows. So it was definitely they were jumping on. They were taking advantage of the fact that people were bitching about that in Nick All-Stars.
Fucking Matthew Lillard as Shaggy.
Yep, as Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
Yes, I love Matthew Lillard, and I loved him as Shaggy, and I don't give a fuck.
There you go. So, yeah, there's lots of shit to pull from there, and Matrix is very obvious. I feel, but
yeah,
me,
but that's another okay. So the ultimate foil to Superman's going to be Neo.
Sure, why wouldn't it be?
Anime Superman.
Now, as far as crossovers with other games, other characters outside of WB, I don't know if that's going to happen because there's a lot to pull from within WB. I mean, when we say all of Hanna-Barbera, that means you're talking Space Ghost as well.
Hundreds of characters, yeah. Space Ghost would be great.
Brack or something.
There's a solid amount of characters that would be unexpected as hell.
Yeah, Harvey Birdman.
Another great one.
You could have a lawyer suit for an alternate costume.
You know what they could do for an ultimate costume and win the internet is if they did the Batman Beyond alternate costume for Batman. Just
that's what I was saying. Terry McGinnis should just be a character. He should be his own character. With
that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
And that's a deep cut I want. So. I think that one's more closer to the realm of possibly happening versus I don't think Tiny Toons or SWAT Cats are going to show up. It's that's too early 90s.
I don't know. I mean, they don't have to pay anybody for it, probably.
They don't. But then you get the question of are you going to find either the original voices or close enough sound-alikes or or whatever.
Are you going to find enough of an audience that would give a shit about that?
I would, because Buster sounds fucking weird anytime someone's done him besides Charlie Adler. But that's a whole story. There's a whole bitter breakup between the Tiny Toons and Charlie Adler, who did Buster, and they had John Kassir come in to replace him, and he did the Crypt Keeper and stuff. And man tries. He's a good voice actor. He's done a lot of voices, but Jesus Christ, he can't do Buster. Nobody can do Buster but Charlie Adler. Charlie Adler has a very fucking distinct voice, and now he's a voice director. He's the assistant voice director on Harley Quinn, and so he's working with WB, and he's the full voice director on some Apple TV animated show for Harriet the Spy. So he's like he moved into being a voice director after being a voice actor for so long. So like, but his distinct tone, and I remember hearing about this too when they were making Tiny Toons, that like Buster was the hardest role to fill because they're like, we need someone who's not Bugs but has like a sort of distinct Bugs like voice, and it was like very hard to find someone. And there was apparently hundreds of auditions, and he was the one who got it because it was like, wow, okay, he definitely sounds unique. So for
wow,
me,
this man's voice is fucked up.
Kassir?
Yeah, no, it's just like Adler. They just like, oh man, we need a voice. We need a voice that's just kind of like.
I don't even know how to describe his.
I can't
voice.
Picture it right now.
But like he is sort of a wise ass, but like he's got a distinct kind of like, I don't want to say gruffness, but like,
well, it's like Joe DiMaggio has that distinct.
Yeah. And there's so many great there's a lot of really underrated lines, in that show too.
For anyone that doesn't know, Joe DiMaggio did Bender and a billion.
And he's in the game. He's Jake the dog in the game, so
yeah.
He's already in Multiversus. So, and John DiMaggio's great, but it is like there's a very distinct John.
Is it Joe
DiMaggio
or John?
sound.
It's John. Joe DiMaggio is a fucking baseball player. I'm fucked tonight. Whatever. Don't even listen to me. If I say a name, just ignore it.
They should have John DiMaggio come back. He did an amazing version of Aquaman for Batman Brave and the Bold, where in that show Diedrich Bader was Batman. He was pretty great. He's also Batman in Harley Quinn. But yeah, he had this Aquaman who was just like this way too happy-go-lucky, fun-loving, adventure, thrill-seeking version of Aquaman, even though he was like the big bearded, style-looking Aquaman.
So he was Jason Momoa,
playing
Aquaman.
No,
just regular Jason Momoa, like not Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
He's just Jason Momoa in interviews.
Yeah, it's just Jason Momoa. He just likes to chug beer, ride whales, throw axes.
Yeah, that's exactly how his character was in Brave and the Bold. That version of Aquaman would be great to have in the game.
Yeah, that's the perfect Aquaman for Jason Momoa to play, and they fucked it.
That is true. Well, everything had to be like Gridmark and Dower in those movies, if you remember. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. Is there any other deep cuts you would love to see in Multiversus coming from? Remember, you have the fucking filmography of Warner Brothers at your disposal.
I know. I mean, the obvious ones are. I mean, I don't know about deep cut, but like obvious ones would be bringing back a Joker that is styled after Heath Ledger's Joker. Would be kind of cool. But also maybe just like a little too dark for this. It'd be a little off art style.
Well, it's funny because he's not in the game. He's gonna be in the game at some point. Like obviously, right? Like,
I mean, the Joker definitely. I don't know about,
but it'll come down to which version of the Joker is.
They're gonna have the Peacemaker in there, right?
Peacemaker, John Cena's character. That is an excellent question, and I don't.
You know what? I want a deep cut character. I want the fucking marine robot from Interstellar.
The cube that sort of like morphs and like rolls around and shit.
And it's a smart ass. So I want that guy.
That could happen because it technically is WB.
Yeah,
so.
And you never really get to see it in combat. I want Tom Cruise or Emma. What the fuck? Emily Blunt's character from Edge of Tomorrow.
Was that WB?
Yeah, that's Warner Brothers, I think.
Oh, if it is, I definitely want that, but that's not going to happen.
Actually, I think there's here. I'm Googling it. I think there's a bunch of characters. Like, I think the newest Tomb Raider with Vikander, all the Harry Potter characters.
Yes, there's another one right there. Like there's all these. There's many Harry Potter characters.
All right, you want deep cut? I want LeBron James in it. I want the fucking Lost Boys.
Ooh,
give me them goddamn Lost Boys.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow was WB. Fuck yeah, I want Emily Blunt in this game.
I want K from Blade Runner 2049.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That
No,
I think I thought about that too. I'm like, yeah, getting like Deckard or K in there would be a super good pull.
I want two characters from Deep Blue Sea. I want the shark and I want LL Cool J. Okay.
How's the shark gonna work on land? It's just
Who gives a fuck?
flop around. Deep blue sea shark.
Just okay, fine. You're right. That's ridiculous. I want LL Cool J's character from Deep Blue Sea, and I want him to hit people with a shark. That's what I want. Obviously, I want King Kong from Skull Island, and I want Samuel L. Jackson's character from Skull Island.
Skull Island. Not Tom Hiddleston's character.
I love Tom Hiddleston's character in there, but Samuel L. Jackson's he's the man. You could get Pacific Rim is WB, so you could have
Jaegers in there maybe, or
Yeah.
pilots from the Jaegers. But yeah, that would be dope too. So there's a lot to pull from.
I want Dwayne the Rock Johnson from Rampage riding on the shoulder of an albino giant gorilla.
Yeah, and WB owns Rampage as well.
Yep.
So there's really nothing stopping them there. So that would actually be that would actually be like a good synergy. But like I don't think they're going to be doing anything more with Rampage since they have Kong versus Godzilla already. Yeah.
You could have Shazam in there.
Yeah.
Shazam.
Zachary Levi played him.
Mm-hmm. And he does voice acting too, so he'd probably
he does. I almost said Paul Rudd for some reason.
Paul Rudd could have played him nice. Real nice. You could have the newest Sherlock Holmes and Watson, those versions of the characters in there.
Oh God, the Robert Downey and Jude
Oh
Law
yeah.
ones?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know.
You could have Godzilla in there.
Maybe. That's negotiable though, because you have to negotiate with Toho. So
that's fair. Technically, Pikachu could be in there if they negotiated for it.
Yeah, Pokemon Company will never go for it though.
Probably not, but it'd be funny.
It'd be weird because it would be like, what? It's specifically Detective Pikachu.
All right,
so,
you want deep cut? I want Medusa from Clash of the Titans. I want
the remake or the Harryhausen version.
Obviously, the remake. We're going for ridiculous here. No, no, I'm kidding.
You don't want Liam Neeson
and shiny, yeah. No, it'd be funny to have the owl in a background though. What was the owl's name? Archimedes?
Oh yeah, Archimedes. Yeah.
Yeah. Just give me the ghost from The Conjuring.
It just comes out and claps at you. Yeah, there's a lot of James Wan to pull from there, I guess. But like, so yeah, free to play, comes out next year.
From The Hangover.
Because it's free to play, people are like, are you going to get this game? I'm like, well, yeah, it's a free download, you know.
Yeah, why not?
And I think that's actually going to be, it's a really good Trojan horse actually, because you already have these mega level popular characters, but you have Ultra Instinct Shaggy, which was a fucking meme, and then the meme became reality, and then they've implemented it now into a video game, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything, just hard drive space to download it. So
I'd still just really love it if they licensed "It Wasn't Me" as his song. It wasn't me.
How did I get Shaggy in the game? Not that Shaggy.
But everybody wants it. America wants it.
I don't know. Half the people don't even know what you're talking about.
Bullshit. You tweet. Everybody tweet. Everybody knows who Shaggy is. Everybody loves Shaggy.
Remember, they are still trying to sell this to kids. And if your song didn't come out today, you're old news.
How dare you?
Oh yeah, how dare I? What?
Put Tony Soprano Soprano. Make it for kids now, motherfucker.
But yeah, it's such an easy buy, and of course I'm going to play it. Of course I'm going to try it out. It doesn't cost anything to get those first set of characters in there. I think, and like as far as I'm aware, like you're gonna download that first initial set, and then like any additional costumes, and then any additional characters will be more money. But
Lego Batman. It's going to be $10.
that'll probably happen. It'll be 25. Are you kidding?
Yeah, the Chris Pratt's character from Lego
Legos are
movie.
expensive, man. Yeah, like Chris Pratt, man, or whatever.
And it'll be the only thing he doesn't voice act in.
Yeah, but for some reason, it'll have to be a sound alike. It won't be actually be Chris Pratt. Plays everyone but himself. But as far as like other big fighting games, though, there's the other big one which got announced, and that was Project L. So League of Fighters, as I've kind of generally called it.
Lego Fighters.
It doesn't have a name. It's still just Project L. It's a fighting game based off Runeterra, as they call it, which I'm like, I guess they're trying to establish Runeterra as the world of League of Legends, and I'm just like, whatever, it's lol. But that doesn't matter, neither here nor there. But yeah, it was announced after a long silence. It looks a lot better than it did when they showed the first prototype. And
it looks cool. Like the art looks awesome.
It does look really cool. Like that is probably the one thing that stood out the most was like, wow, this actually looks really good. Now the game is not coming out this year. It's not coming out next year. Who knows? Probably 23 sometime, maybe if we're lucky. But it's also one of those things too, where I don't know how the pricing is going to go for this. Like this might be a free to play game as well. I think League of Legends is a free to download game.
Yeah, and then what you play, you buy characters or.
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance it follows the same fucking model as League of Legends, where it's like, yeah, you can download it and you get like, whatever, like maybe like 5 characters or something, right? And then it's like you got to buy the other ones, like anyone else you want. Like I could easily see that happening here.
Yeah,
but this is a game that's been in development for a very long time. And it has not been a cash grab. Like it's not been just a project that they just wanted to shit out because like, oh, someone had a good idea. Let's make a fighting game. We have all these characters. Let's make a fighting game. And let's just do it as quick and cheaply as possible and just get it out there. And then it'll find its money real quick. No, they've actually been really thinking on what to do for this game. This game has been, I don't want to say too much, but like I'll say it's prototyped or they've been prototyping or just working and debating on how they want to go about it. And they finally kind of came out and said, here's what the game looks like. And it's going to be a tag assist game. So it's going to be like Marvel Infinite.
Which
it's like
everybody loves.
Yeah, it's going to be 2v2. And, I was wondering, I was kind of wondering in my head, I was like, well, what are they going to do with it? Because like, last time we saw it look like a 1v1 game when they showed the very early prototype. And I'm like, that seems kind of weird that a game that is so based around, what is it, 3v or 5v5 in League of Legends. It's so based around 5v5. So weird that like they're gonna make a fighting game 2v2. Wouldn't you do it like Marvel style, which is usually 3v3?
3v3, yeah.
So they're kind of doing that. So it sounds like they're gonna do 2v2, which a lot of people like, and to me makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's the thing is like 2v2, and maybe they planned on 3v3. Maybe they,
probably at some point. It was announced a while ago.
It is also just like very good looking though.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if maybe they just ran out of time to. No, they would have built the 3v3 aspect before they built the looks, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
there probably was a lot of playtesting, and there was probably a lot of debate. I could tell you, I could tell you for certain this has not been because in the video that the Cannon brothers from Evo were talking about, like, we want to make sure we get it right. We spend a lot of time. They're actually, they're not lying. They're not just sort of like telling a fluff piece. No, like they actually have wanted to make sure that the game comes out and is good. It's kind of like there's almost a Disney-like mentality, I feel, with this, not in gaming, but how Disney, when they approach an industry, they want to dominate it. They don't want to be a competitor. They don't want to be another voice in the field. They want to dominate it. Like when they make a theme park, They want it to be the biggest, most expensive theme park, the crown jewel of this industry. When they set a box office record, they want it to be forever, kind of like we own the box office record forever. And it's like, well, but Avatar for buying Fox.
Well, I mean, and then Disney gets pissed and leaves twice.
Well, they did in gaming because they couldn't dominate. They couldn't bullhead their way into it. But anyways, like the point is that this is a project where it's like they didn't want to just release something that was. They didn't take the Viacom approach, which was just like what just do something as quickly and cheaply as possible and let's just make some money. For them, it's like we want to release a fighting game that's going to get basically everyone's fucking head in the room is going to turn. The whole FGC is going to be like, what?
Something that I've noticed over time, though, is that a fighting game can sometimes be like a crown jewel in a way. Like it's a little bit of a prestige piece.
Yeah.
And so maybe in a way, I think Tencent's backing this, right? Tencent publishes or backs Riot Games. They own Riot Games, yeah.
So yes.
So like they have plenty of money.
Oh yeah. This is not a project that was being skimped on because it's been in development for technically it's already been in development for a while, and it's not something that they're taking lightly because you look at it and it looks like Arc System Works level of quality as far as like graphics and lighting and character.
Yeah, the art definitely looks that level. I mean, I don't think we'll really know about that quality of build.
And it's gonna polish more and more because again, it's not even within a year of release, so they're going in hard. And the only thing that's not strange, but like will be interesting is that by the time it does come out, it will have given other companies time to release other fighting games. Like the King of Fighters is coming out in February, and we'll see how far along, how many more characters have been added to Strive or what else, Arc Systems running. They had the Dungeon Fighter as well. That probably won't, I don't know, whatever. Point, either way, it's going to be a game that is going to, I think, come in swinging. It's not, and I don't mean that, and I don't mean this to be, derivative or to minimize, how good the game is, but there's that Power Ranger game, Battle for the Grid, and it's a very, very solid game, but you can tell it had very tiny budget. Like, it was small budget, small developer, small publisher, and they're just like, hey, we got this Power Ranger game, and we're gonna do all we can with what we have to work with. And and it's a good game, but it obviously you can take one look at it and go, yeah, obviously it doesn't have a lot of money behind it, doesn't have a lot of people behind it, but that's something that the Project L League of Fighters here. It has money behind it. It has a big company behind it, and it's got a big company that has been adamant about making it a big product. So it's kind of interesting because someone pointed out, like with Multiversus and with the way Mortal Kombat's been treated so well by NetherRealm lately, and with this game, it feels kind of back in like the 90s when fighting games were sort of the big crown jewel. It was your showpiece game because you could focus all your graphics into one, small area, or just, put everything into these character models and like, the one background that doesn't, we're not running through a city. We're just whatever you have on the left and right of the main screen. So it's like, it's interesting to see companies kind of going back to a point in time where it's like, hey, we know our characters are so beloved. Our brand is so strong that we can hyper focus a whole lot of attention on character models and character animation and really showcase it and have a big fucking centerpiece fighting game. And I think that's great. I think it's also kind of just, I've been waiting kind of for this moment for a while because, when MOBAs were blowing up and taking off and they completely outpaced fighting games, wildest ambitions ever. I was like, you know what? The fighting game genre, it's biding its time. Because eventually, what makes these competitive games, these MOBAs and even these shooters and whatever, what makes these competitive games so popular and so profitable, that'll swing back around to fighting games eventually.
Yeah, I mean, also, I think we talked about it in a relatively recent episode where we were kind of like, what's when is there going to be another, not necessarily Marvel, but another like game that's built to, I don't know, for lack of a better term, win. It seems like Project L, Multiverses, yes, sure.
Kind of. Multiverses to me looks like it wants to be like the Fortnite
yes,
of fighting games, and this Project L wants to be the League of Legends. Like it wants to be the big esports game.
It wants to step into where UMVC3 was, that kind of shit.
And not that Fortnite isn't esports. I know Fortnite's esports, but Fortnite is almost more of a multimedia platform at this point. You have concerts that go on in it. You have movie previews that go on in it. Shit like that. Like now it's about like what fucking character did we somehow negotiate the rights to from Disney to Warner Brothers to everybody, right? To Naruto or whatever the fuck's in there now.
It's not a pure esports experience anymore.
Yeah, like it's not really. Yeah, it's not exactly. It's not a pure esports experience where I think Project L is very much like we want this to be a big competitive esports experience, and Multiversus is just like we want to make Fortnite money by doing like a lot of the same shit Fortnite does.
So we, final topic, we got to ask the big question: does that mean that we're going to do a sis maze as League of Legends characters, and we have to learn?
Oh man, we are so old and
are we finally going to have to learn League of Legends characters, and are we finally going to bring that shit back? And which character? Obviously, I'm going to be the dude with the pauldron and the axe, and I don't know anything about him. That's what I'm.
That's the funny thing, because like both Max and Kenny have all of us knew nothing about the game, and I still don't know anything about the game. They've actually gone in and done streams and videos where like, hey, they're going to go through, because the roster is enormous for League now.
Yeah,
it's like dozens and dozens of characters. It's huge, right? And each character has like 6 to 10 completely different costume variations per character. So it's insane, the pool of characters they have to pull from.
So this potentially is going to be a huge game.
Yeah, I think so. And like if they keep pumping money into it too, like honestly, it's a bit of a sky's the limit thing here. So
great.
I'm excited because I'm like, look, if the game is fun to play, I'm all for it. I don't really know anything about League. I don't play League. I don't really have an interest in League. I've never, there is that show Arcane, which I've had many people bug me to watch, and I just haven't really had any interest or whatever. Although I did notice from a trailer, like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking really well animated, like really expensive.
I did not check out Arcane. I think I watched the Dota one at some point.
No. The Arcane one's insane because there's an insane fucking budget behind it.
What is that on?
Netflix.
Oh, I guess I haven't seen it.
I think it's Netflix.
I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna check it out.
But yeah, because and you'll notice that like the characters they're showing in the Project L trailer are I think mainly the characters from Arcane. But like Arcane's got money behind it, and it's like a French CG studio, but like they've spent some time and budget on that show, and it's paid off because a lot of people who know nothing about the game are like, I love this show. I didn't know anything about League of Legends, but this show is great. I love this show. And some people are like, well, there's not really a plot in League of Legends. There kind of is. There's like character backstories, but like there's not like a central overarching narrative. But like the show, that's what the show is there for. So
to give you an overarching narrative.
Yeah, well, I didn't give context to what these, give backstory to these characters and stuff. And apparently, the show's very, very good, very expensive looking.
And I have to check it out.
And it's like, yeah, and the game looks very expensive, but the game also looks very good too. Like it looks like it's doing a lot of things that people really like in tag-based versus style fighters.
Well, speaking of very, very good, and to wrap up the show, Cowboy Bebop live action show. You watched it, huh? Thumbs up, thumbs.
I gave up on it. I got like 4 episodes in, and I'm just
I didn't even try it. The thing is, I had high hopes. I was actually like, I was kind of like, I like the actors. The actors seem to like
Yeah, the
be good.
cast is really good, but it's just
I
it's
heard,
so
as soon as I heard
bizarre.
that they made Vicious silly, I was like, ugh.
Oh yeah, Vicious is super focused on, and they really neuter him character wise, where he's basically just kind of like a sniveling, whiny, um, just sort of like loser, if you will. I don't know. Like there's
Tell me
things
you
that
didn't
like
watch the anime for 100.
yeah, it's bizarre because like Vicious is barely in the original show.
Like
He's just he's
3 times.
literally yeah he's the shadow of Spike's past, and it's very intentional. Like he's not a main antagonist. Like he does antagonistic things, and he is like the final showdown, if you will. But like he's basically he's just sort of like the dark past of Spike that that kind of like pulls Spike into his past, like where there's a lot of things that like I could go into like a sort of metaphorical aspect of what Vicious is, but like, and if you wanted to try to adopt Vicious, okay, so what is Vicious's character? Because he hardly has one in the original show. He's Stalin. He's a high level thug of the Syndicate, and when he finds out the Syndicate's brokering all these peace treaties with other syndicates, that enrages him. So he basically starts a coup because he doesn't want peace
Yeah, he likes the
between
violence.
he doesn't want peace between syndicates. He doesn't want like any weakness or anything like that. And he doesn't want any loose ends either, which is why he Spike's alive. He wants to kill Spike because like he doesn't like loose ends. He doesn't like peace between. He doesn't want peace between syndicates. Like he's to me, I'm like he's just Stalin in a very anime emo sort of way.
Yeah, if you're thinking about rewatching Cowboy Bebop and then watching the live action, don't. I think if it's been a long time since you've watched Cowboy Bebop, uh, watch the live action.
It's just it's
It's
not
not
the
the
same
same.
show, and
It's not it.
it's not really trying to be. Well, it is and it isn't. That's the thing that kind of frustrates me. The whole show is so fucking weird
I've heard it's
because
like fun, and that's about it.
it tries to be a very you know what it is. It tries to be two things. It's shot stylistically. It's shot like Event Horizon or some other '90s sci-fi. Like I said, a lot of Dutch angles. It goes from close angle, wide angle lens, Dutch angle, close wide Dutch. Like no mid, hardly any mid shots. It's so fucking weird.
Wow.
So stylistically, it's shot very much like a '90s sci-fi, and then tonally, it's very much like Joss Whedon, but with copious amounts of blood and titties.
Blood and titties.
Yeah, a lot of blood and titties in the show, a lot of gore, titties, and f bombs and shit like that. And it's
Huh.
but with this very Whedon like dialogue. Uh, it's so fucking weird to me. And then they try really hard to merge all these plots and like one-off characters into the show and repeat what their sequences were, but then they also try to morph that into a main overarching narrative, which the original show didn't really have. It's just so weird. It is so fucking weird.
On that positive note, we hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. If you're not celebrating, I guess have a happy Thursday anyway.
Eat
For
well.
those of you,
Live and eat well. Live and eat well day.
yeah, and if you're traveling, play some
Unlike
cool games.
unlike the Donner Party
Oh,
or or the natives after too many of us got here.
okay. Yep, that's a happy note. As always, we've got patrons to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was NNXF. I got that right. I got that right off the top of my fucking head. Our producers for this episode are The Arnett, Screwnomi, Top 35, Hyper Viper 89, Hockey Kong 64, Ziggy Z, Online Persona, and Miles XVS. Thank you, dudes, and we will catch you next time.